Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Haley and I am a Christian wife, homeschooling mother of 3, out to redeem my very own literary education. And I'm really excited to talk about my April TBR because I have a lot of great classics, a lot of great spring reads, a reread, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and I am so excited to share with y'all what April has in store. Hey friends, so let's jump right into my April TBR. First up, I have a few books that I'm still working on and I need to finish. These are books that I included in my March TBR, but they're not done. And the first one is Emily of New Moon by L.M. Montgomery. L.M. Montgomery is my female author of the year, and I want to wrap this one up before revisiting another one by her this month in April. And then a book that I have going on that's been a background classic since February is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I'm still slowly working my way through this beast. It's like 1,000 pages long. But it's so good. I genuinely think when I finish this is going to be one of my favorite books of all time. Now, is April going to be the month I finish it? I'm not really sure because it's long and it's a slow process, but I am loving it. So I'm excited to continue that in April. And then for my Mother Academia read, I did a whole video recently on what my Mother Academia plans are for 2025, and that is Greek mythology. I finally finished The Inferno by Dante Alighieri, which is the first book in his Divine Comedy. And now that that's done, I know I need to read some Greek mythology before I move on with any more of that, because there's just so much Greek mythology references in those great classic books. So, like a child, I'm going to be reading Dallair's book of Greek myths, just one a day as I can get to them. So I think this is going to be fun. I think it's okay to treat yourself like a kid and go back to children's literature to get the very basics of concepts. So this one will be fun, and it'll also be kind of a pre-read for my children's homeschool education in the coming years. My oldest is only 6 and will be beginning Ambleside Year 1 later this fall. And I don't think Greek myths are introduced for a few years, but I will feel better pre-reading this now so that I know what to expect later. And so now getting into the really new and exciting part of my April TBR, I'm not sure that I'm going to get to all of these because typically my TBR is way more ambitious and there's always some kind of carryover in the next month, but I like to have options ready so that I know what my reading plan is. And the first book I have is for my male author of the year, which is J.R.R. Tolkien. That's right, I am finally diving into the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I read The Hobbit earlier this year and loved it. One of my favorite books of all time after reading it. I get it now. I understand why people love Tolkien and this world, so I'm excited to dive in. I don't really know much about it. I've never watched all of the movies all the way through. I don't really know the story. I kind of know very basics from pop culture, but I'm excited to encounter this for myself. So this is probably going to be the priority read for April, and I guarantee I finish this one. The next book I have is for my female author of the year, and that is L.M. Montgomery. And I'm going to try one of her standalone books. I think this is going to be a really great spring and summer read, and that is The Blue Castle. Now, I love this cover. This is the Warbler Classics edition. I have a couple editions of these books, and the covers are so artful and beautiful, and I'm really excited about this one. I know this is a standalone. I don't know a ton about it. I think the main character, whose name is Valancy, kind of gets diagnosed with this disease or something that she thinks she's going to die soon, and I think she just decides to start living her life. That's kind of all I know about it, so I'm happy to go into this blind. If you've read it, please feel free to gush in the comments about it to make me excited for it. But I think it's going to be a really lovely spring read. L.M. Montgomery does nature and gardening and flowers so beautifully in her writing that it's just perfect for these really sunshiny spring days. So I can't wait for this one. My next book I have is a nonfiction book that I am so excited about because it is about reading and literature, and that is Why Literature Still Matters by Jason M. Baxter, who is the author of The Medieval Mind of C.S. Lewis, which I read last year. My male author of the year last year was C.S. Lewis, and I read his book on the medieval mind of C.S. Lewis. It was so fascinating, and I'm really excited to get to his thoughts on why literature still matters. Because I'm out to redeem my own literary education, and I'm kind of in this pursuit of great literature and great classics with really no other end goal in mind than for the pure enjoyment of them. I'm not getting an English degree or a literature degree. I'm just doing it because it's fun and these stories are really great. And I think a book like this is going to help me articulate why literature still matters and why it's a worthy pursuit. Another book I've read on reading is An Experiment in Criticism by C.S. Lewis, which I read last year. Completely changed my views as a reader, what that looks like and what a good book looks like. And I just kind of have this inkling that this book is going to leave me with the same feeling, that same excitement and love for reading and literature and sharing that with others. And it's pretty short as well. This edition is less than 100 pages. It is 77 pages long, so that's not super long. I'm pretty sure that this is a book I will also finish this month, and I'm really excited for it. Now, if you want to order this one, it's not on Amazon. It's sold through Cassiodorus Press, which is the Literary Life podcast and the House of Humane Letters brand new publishing house, which is really exciting. But if you want to order this book, you have to get it through them. I will leave a link below. You can order a physical copy, or they have an option to get a digital copy as well if you have a Kindle or something like that. So this one's going to be really fun, and it's also going to be a priority read for the month of April for me. This last one is just pure fun. This is a reread, which is not something that I've ever done much of until I read An Experiment in Criticism by C.S. Lewis. He talks about if you are a true reader and a book is really a great book, then throughout your life you will read and reread that book over and over again. This one I read for the first time last April, and it has become one of my favorite books of all time. And I think it's going to be an April tradition because it's called The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. I read Elizabeth and Her German Garden by her last month. I cannot wait to share that video with y'all because it was so good. But in The Enchanted April, we follow 4 different women who are all kind of having a hard time in life, and they are seeking a change. And they don't all have the money to rent out this castle in Italy on their own, so they kind of band together and rent out the castle for a month, the month of April. That's why it's called The Enchanted April. They are all very different in personality and in background, and it's so funny to see them interact, but it's also so lovely how the castle and beauty and rest is just restorative and reviving to the soul. We have 2 characters in this book who are in struggling marriages, and when I first was reading it, I was a little bit concerned. I was like, please don't tell me that they are going to demean and destroy marriage because I'm a Christian. That's just not my jam. But when you pick up this book, if you choose to, just know that I love what she did with the marriages. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but if you read it and you're worried, don't be. Keep reading. And like I said, it's just one of those books that makes you want to travel, makes you want to live a more slow and beautiful life, and just really appreciate what rest and beauty can do for you. So if I can get to this one as a reread, I'm really excited to do so. I read it alongside the Literary Life podcast episodes last year, and I'm going to be doing that again if I reread it. And I can't wait to create a very individual and in-depth review on this one, because it's one of my favorites, and I love it. The very last book I have is for my Women's Christian Book Club. This is an in-person book club that I host. We read a Christian fiction book and a Christian nonfiction book every other month, and this month we are reading a Christian nonfiction, and that is The Gospeler by Willie Robertson. And this is a book that is going to help you learn how to more easily share the gospel, which is the whole point of our Christian faith, and yet it's one of the things that seems to be the hardest to do. So I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to have some really great ideas in it, some great discussions, and I think it's going to approach it in a really easy way. If you know the Robertson family, you know how loving and laid back they are. So I'm excited to see what he has to say, and this is a book my husband would probably also read, and I always love that when I find a book that we can both enjoy and discuss together. So I can't wait for that one as well. But that is all I have for my April reading plans. I don't know that I'll get to all of these, but I hope to get to most of them. If not in April, then definitely next month as well. These will carry over. But these are my reading plans, and I can't wait. I'm having so much fun with my reading this year. I really love the format that I've created to approach my reading, with the male and female author of the year, with the Mother Academia, a background classic. I just have a really rich literary life right now, and it's really exciting to share that with y'all here on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. Please share with me in the comments below if you've read any of these, if any of these are on your April TBR, your thoughts, just all the things. Let me know what you plan on reading in April. Lord willing, I will see y'all next time. Happy reading, friends.